how to get in a guy's head, how to make him freaking obsessed with you. Now, I don't know if you're gonna wanna do this because they are going to be all over you. There will be no more chasing needed by your end. They're gonna be wrapped around your little finger. Number one, text him his name and then don't answer. None, done, we're ghost, we're gone. There is no response after that. He is going to be first kind of freaking out, kind of himself, but then he's gonna get into like, oh crap, I really wanna know what she wants to say, whatever, and be so invested in you and in that conversation for as long as you don't answer. And then once it is a couple hours, and when I say a couple, I mean about 4 to 5 hours later, then you can say, oh crap, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. He will be wondering about it for days.
Man, that's just mean. That's mean, man.
Listen, Maud, there's really no need for any of this. We already know that you're so broken that you'd rather sabotage any form of relationship because you are so terrified of being in a relationship that you're openly advocating for the emotional manipulation of a man who legitimately cares for your safety. All this does is frustrate the guy because you made him think that you were in some sort of a mortal peril where making a phone call was out of the question. Either that or you're furious with him and he has no idea why. Either way, you're pointlessly causing him an extreme amount of emotional stress. Sure, he may be obsessively sending you texts and asking questions, but that's because he wants to make sure that you are not. And after you're done pulling that little stunt, he's not going to be able to look at you the same way afterwards because you violated his trust thanks to your insatiable appetite for validation and attention, as you are incapable of feeling anything else, Maud.
Number two, hold eye contact with him. It makes him so nervous and it creates like this sex drive, and it'll make him want you even more. It'll make him start that obsession with you. But you have to keep the eye contact like very strong and very not weird and awkward, but just like you're actually looking at him and you're looking directly into his eyes.
And
well, leave it to broads like Maud to take one of the most basic aspects of human socializing and then turn it into some sort of a secret hack that only alpha widows don't know about. Yes, eye contact is kind of important, Maud, which just proves something we already know. If a dude is out on a date with a modern woman and all she's doing is avoiding eye contact, that clearly means she is disinterested and is using that poor dude for a free meal, a few free drinks, or just a respite from the crippling loneliness she suffers on a daily basis. Eye contact is kind of something that we already knew about for centuries, Maud, and it doesn't surprise me that there's an infinite cattle car of modern women out there who have no idea that this was a thing and they are taking notes at what you're saying. But I hate to break it to you, sister, but if you are now just realizing that eye contact is an important part of an emotional connection with someone you care for, then maybe you should just sit out the rest of humanity. Please, Maud, it's for the good of mankind.
My favorite thing in the world is telling a man that you don't know if he's your type. You're still kind of figuring it out. Now, this will make him want to be your type. This will make him want to figure out what your type is and be that person for you. And he's going to be invested into thinking everything that you want from him, and he's about to do that. Because men can't lose, and now it's a game to him. And last but not least, tell him that you feel safe with him. Guys love to be in their masculine era, and if you tell him that you feel safe with him, then he will be in that masculine era, and that is exactly how he wants to feel with a woman. So good luck, but use this wisely.
Maud, please, just stop. Even if that was true, the Me Too movement has pretty much put a coup de grace on that whole thing. The second you tell a self-respecting man that you are not his type, he's going to say, oh, okay, thank the mercy of the intergalactic space god Flomaflar, all hail, and he'll just walk away. He's not going to try and figure out more because you literally told him that you are not interested. If he does anything further, then he risks a date with the friendly neighborhood criminal court where the judge will automatically side with the woman because women who lie about men are an apparent biblical impossibility these days. If this man is your type, then show him that you can add some value onto his life and he'll want to be with you. This is fairly simple, Maud, but apparently you are less than simple. But I guess that really shouldn't be all that surprising. You're a hopelessly single dating expert on TikTok. Becoming simple is the best case scenario for a broad like you.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
I think after the idea of You came out on Amazon Prime, with Anne Hathaway, please tell me you guys have all watched that movie on Amazon Prime. It's so flipping good. Like, all the ladies are like, we're pulling young guy. We're gonna go for it with a young guy, because why not? I really think that sometimes young guys, they treat us better. They treat us better than guys our own age. And then we're looking at Cher with that hot little number that she's got. And you know what? He loves her, so it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, people have so much to say, don't they? Because some people are just haters. They want to hate rather than love.
What?
Does anybody remember back in the day when people were screaming that violent movies and video games were going to turn boys into violent psychopaths? I mean, this was a major controversial issue back then that even ended up involving the federal government. Well, fast forward 30 years and we're seeing something similar with modern women. They have nothing but time on their hands. They don't go out unless it's to get drunk. They don't have hobbies or any children or anything to keep them busy. They have no purpose. So what do? They watch a concerning amount of TV. Romantic dramas, reality television, true crime documentaries, and it's come to the point where their brains have interpreted this content as reality. They think that real men are supposed to be rich, built like Spartan gods, and romantically perfect. Either that or they're psychopathic murderers. I mean, just take your pick. But just listen to this broad. She is literally using a direct-to-streaming Anne Hathaway movie to justify her predatory desire to use impressionable 20-something-year-old boys to validate her existence, and she thinks that because it happened in a rom-com, it can happen to her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
But I've had so many of my friends my age reach out to me and say, we're going to go for that 35-year-old, that 38-year-old, that 42-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you? Men have been doing it forever. So I have been known to dabble with a younger guy. Let's just be real. Not because I don't think older guys are hot, and I love older guys. I love guys specifically my age. I love connecting with men from my generation who like are going through what I'm going through. I've always said that I want to be with a man who like is feeling like the aches and pains of being in your 50s, you know? Who can talk about the 80s, Gen X, like all of it. I mean, that decade, it's like huge in our lives, right? The 80s and the 90s.
That does not make sense.
Well, maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I really don't think there's a whole lot of 50-year-old dudes out there who have your shared experiences about going through menopause, but that's because older dudes, typically speaking, don't really go for the crusty broads whose best assets have sagged worse than her skin. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of dudes out there who grew up in the era of the unexpected Bohemian Rhapsody resurgence. Those dudes aren't exactly rare. And if you can't find a dude out there who's willing to talk about the good old days of Super Nintendo, Ren and Stimpy, and pay-per-view wrestling, then I kinda pity you. You do realize that Gen X does not hold a monopoly on the 90s, right? We were just too young and too full of common sense to try to con our way backstage into a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert to drink Flea's underwear sweat, which is something apparently a groupie actually did, and it makes me kind of thankful that I missed the Gen X bus because you guys are freaking weirdos.
So, unfortunately, for some reason, the guys that really pursue me are young. And like people keep saying, I think because they have more, like, they're more confident. Like, how could a young little kid like that come up to me in an actual restaurant and bar? Like, no way would a man my age do that. Like, he would just be too cool to do that. But let me tell you, that's why the younger guys are getting the dates, because they're actually asking. You know what I mean? What to do?
It's kind of sad that I'm the one that has to explain this to you, but the reason why those dudes approach you is because they either don't know any better, or they do, but they really want to boldly go where far too many have gone before. There's just no chance that any of these guys see anything long-term with you, and if they do, just wait a while. They'll eventually find out that you're too old, too tired, and too set in your ways to be any fun. And if these guys want kids one day, then what is he supposed to do? That's just one of the many things that you cannot provide him. You're looking at this the wrong way. You're taking the perspective of what you can get out of this, how that guy can make you feel. It's all about you, and you've yet to actually mention one thing about how you'd be good for that young guy, and that's because you and I know the answer to that question is rather obvious.
Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
Tell men, repel men who are not ready for you. And this is a good thing. Here's why. If you've ever been talking to someone and then you go on a couple of dates, you hang out, everything's great, and then all of a sudden they pull away, this might be why. If you have your ish together, like a job, you got a good head on your shoulders, you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you got it going on, and maybe you fall into the category of, I can't understand why you're still single. This may be why. If a man approaches you to get to know you, he's doing this with minimal information, right? Then he collects the information, and he maybe saw you here, and now he's realizing that you are way up here, and he might be here, and this is too far to jump. You know what I'm saying?
What?
The reason why you're still single is because you're valueless, sister. You don't have your ish together. You don't take care of yourself spiritually or mentally or anything like that. You think having a job and an extensive knowledge of cardboard wine counts as personality traits. There aren't a whole lot of men out there who are willing to deal with that. And the only ones who are simps. And I've said it 1,000 times, if you're single at your age, unless it's under very specific circumstances, then it's your fault, not the men that don't want you. There's no shortage of good men out there, but there is an apparent shortage of kind women who don't hyperinflate their value with feelings and the number of likes they get on social media. And that could have been you, sweetheart, if you didn't drink that wine-flavored Kool-Aid by the gallon.
And this is why it's a good thing. Because when you enter the relationship, you're still here, he's still here. This is gonna be what constantly tugs on your heart. He's not ready. He hasn't done the work. He hasn't gotten himself to the level where he feels like he can provide for you. Because how is he supposed to provide for you when you're up here? This doesn't mean that you come down here. This just means that he's not ready. And so in essence, when this happens, it is a good thing, because then you don't need to go through the heartbreak of trying to close that gap that will inevitably not work. Now, there's a difference between this and the anxious attachment giving off clingy relationship vibes with minimal information. Basically, love bombing your own mind to acting like you're in a relationship before you have all the facts or even at that point, right?
Wrong! Let's get something straight, lady. Let's say you do meet a man that you're physically attracted to. It's only gonna take one conversation where you find out that you both like dogs to convince yourself that he's your soulmate. You've already planned the wedding, you've already agreed to what color you're going to paint the guest bathroom, and you've already decided where you're going to be buried. That is how much of a catch that you think you are, but you're really not. In less than 2 minutes, you've already shat all over the majority of men by telling them they're not ready to be with you, when the reality is they don't need to be ready. They don't want to be with you at all. You've already given them all the information they need. To gather more would just be a waste of time. Time they can spend playing air hockey or working on their putts. There's only so many hours in a day, woman, which is a concept that you clearly can't appreciate.
Which can also repel a man. Because I feel like there's so many, I was just talking to some girls at church about this. There's so many amazing women out there, and it's always like, why is she still single? Why is she still single? This is why. This is why. But let me tell you, I have so much faith. I am overwhelmingly faithful that God is going to deliver. And the reason that it hasn't happened yet is because the man that you and I are going to end up with is going to be, hold on, come on. The man that you and I are going to end up with is going to be here. He's going to lead us, so we're both there. You know what I'm saying? Love you. Bye.
Put your trust in the Lord. Your ass belongs to me.
You know, it kind of sucks that I have to do this, but I need to preface what I'm about to say with a fairly large caveat. I am not dissing on religion or atheism. However you choose to live your life is your business, and I am not promoting one or the other. I personally find faith in religion as a whole to be incredibly fascinating, and I actually enjoy discussing it from time to time. Now, with that being said, the more I watch this kind of stuff, the more I realize that modern women are nothing but a massive horde of invaders. I mean, think about it. They invaded the internet, the government, the bars, the gym, so it was only natural that they were going to invade the church as a last-ditch effort to find a man. Because once they reached that end of the fertility line, they desperately join the church for clearly selfish reasons and then treat the church as if it's some kind of a pious singles event. They think because they sing the songs and speak the verses and say the words that it completely absolves them of their past and that a man will be provided to her, as if the church is some kind of a holy vending machine filled with men who are willing to settle for less. But it doesn't work that way, sister. It never has. You clearly are either unready, unable, or unwilling to accept the consequences of your actions. And until you do, you can pray all you want. But the answer to your prayers will most likely be no. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and be sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.